What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. When we left off in the last episode, we were trying to take a test flight on our new ship, and it failed, but we also were trying to build our test flight, yes, we're trying to build the test flight. No, we're trying to build the ship to take a test flight, and it wasn't working. And I was talking about my frustration of why everything was not working because all this was hooked up and it wouldn't pass materials through. I found out why. Now, I don't know if something changed and I just didn't see it in the last one or not, but this is a problem right here. So we need to kind of fix this. I'm not really sure what happened, to be perfectly honest. Because I thought we had set all this up, but apparently... I think I removed this because I was adding... or I was gonna bypass it or something and go directly into there. I think... I don't know. Anyways, I'm missing a block here. And so I'm thinking that that is probably what's going on. I don't know. I don't know why this isn't here is the bigger issue for me. Like, I don't know why this got disappeared kind of thing. Like, I'm pretty sure there was already one there that went up into the nano machine. So, not really sure what that's about. But in theory, that should fix it to where now the assembler will be able to get the gold and make the thrusters. So it does sound like that's what it's doing. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Because to be quite honest, I don't even know why I added this other thing. Like, it already had a corner that went up into there. I think I was having issues with it, and I wasn't sure if the nanobot was the problem, like being a modded block, if it wasn't actually able to talk to something correctly. So I was going to add a second line, maybe? I'm not really sure. I think that's what I was doing. That's what I'm thinking was the problem, at least. So with that, our ship should be back under construction again. Now, there's a couple of things that I wanted to go over. One is, if you were not privy to the last episode, this did not take off. And I'm not entirely sure why, because I haven't built a ship in a long time, but looking at the amount of thrusters and stuff, I thought that was plenty. I could be wrong. Oh, it actually completed all the thrusters and stuff. Sweet. So, I could be wrong. There might be a much more simple explanation. No, I did mess with the landing gears, and they didn't turn off. I mean, they turned off, so that's not it, I don't think. Let's see. I must have not saved it after I set this stuff up. So, landing gears. Let's do a battery one, and we'll set up the batteries. That way we can toggle them. As you can see, though, I thought, and I had a comment on my last video that mentioned, yeah, that maybe you didn't turn the batteries on. So here's the thing. I looked down here, and I was like, no, they're not set to recharge, so they should just discharge. I didn't actually look up here. And I was about to say the same thing. I was like, no, I checked. These are... And So that could be a problem. That could be a pretty big problem. Let's do a small reactor one. We'll leave those off. We'll call this reactor backups. I think we'll do nicely for that. Let's do Atmo thrusters as well, because if this actually ends up working, I want to be able to disable them. Let's do thrusters Atmo. And then we'll do, nope, if I could spell, that'd be cool. Let's do thrusters, let's do an ion group. Thrusters, ion. Alright, Let me make a copy of this save before we move forward, because if we blow something up or whatever, I want to be able to just kind of reset where I was. Auto lock on and off, switch lock. We'll put the reactors back here for toggling on and off. We'll put the, let's see, let's do the batteries first. So first of all, we'll toggle them on and off, and then toggle recharge, I think would be a pretty good combo. Then let's set the atmospherics to toggle and toggle. And that should be a pretty decent setup for starting off. So let me go ahead and save it, and we'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. Nicely saved away. Okay, so I still cannot believe that I forgot to turn the batteries on. Because they do actually work. I don't know how these work. That's the weird part. Like, you see the flash, like they work, but without power, I don't get how that would work. So we'll turn the switch lock off. We'll unlock the landing gears. And let's turn the batteries on. I think that was the on button. Batteries on. Yeah, recharge. Okay. So I'm not seeing much vertical thrust or lateral, to be honest. Like, we got forward, we have backward. Lateral is moving, but very, very slow and in a weird way. And I say weird because, yeah, and then it's descent. Okay, so it cannot keep up with the gravity right now. That's the thing for the vertical, because when we lift ourselves up, it just sinks right back down. Now, why the lateral is moving really, really slow or not at all, I'm not really sure. Like, it's weird. If I nudge myself up in the air, then lateral works. But if I'm actually in the landing gear spot where they can land, lateral doesn't seem to be doing anything. Like, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I hope you can, because the camera's not being very responsive for me, or working with me very well. So if I hold the A key, like, I'm not going anywhere. It's not like, well, it's moving a little, it's just, it's not going anywhere. And almost the same with the right. It's not doing anything. Now, when I nudge the nose back and forth to wiggle myself up into the air a little bit, then it kind of floats over to the side. So, and now it's floating to the side. But then when I float back, it's like, then it gets stuck. So I'm not sure if that's the downward force, that because the gravity is too strong and the ship itself is not able to lift itself off the ground, if the gravity pushing it down to the ground is keeping it from moving side to side. I'm not really sure, but it makes it difficult to gauge the strength of the lateral thrusters and whether or not I need to add more. So, with that said, I have heard... actually, I need to turn off the batteries and stuff, don't I? Get in here. Batteries off. And let's go ahead and lock the landing gears. Yeah, we're good. So, I have heard, I don't know how valid it actually is, but I've heard that the atmospheric thrusters drop off in potency? No, not potency. What's the word I'm looking for? Effectiveness? Let's go with that. They drop off in effectiveness at higher altitudes, which makes sense. There's less air for it to work with. However, I was under the impression that you could even use these in, like, moon atmospheres, which was very, very low, and you couldn't breathe in them and all that stuff, but you could still use atmo thrusters. But it's possible that being up here on a mountain, really, really tall, that it is possible, I suppose, that these are having too little of an effect, like they're at their minimal efficiency kind of thing, so they're not really actually providing much thrust. So with that said, I'd actually like to replace these 6 down here with vertical ions, and I might switch out these for more laterals, I think. We only have 3 in each lateral direction. I believe we have 6 in the forward and... Or no, we have 12 in the forward and 6 in the reverse, which was actually moving forward and backward. That's the only thing that's been able to go anywhere, is forward and reverse. So for upward, I think we'll do another 6 here. Maybe do 3 more downward, and then maybe do another set of like maybe 6 of the ions or something over here. So I'm going to work on that, and then we'll test this again. Okay, so this is a stupid amount of thrusters. Yeah, no, this is not smart. The reason is I tested this out, and no matter how many I seem to put on there, I cannot get this thing to lift off the ground, and it's kind of driving me nuts. So this is literally like a proof that it can fly type thing. If I slap enough of these on here, will it fly? Is kind of my philosophy here. Which will be kind of ironic considering that I probably won't be able to power the thing. So let's turn this off, turn the power on. And it's still not lifting off. Like, something is wrong. Like, this does not make any sense to me. This is still not lifting off the ground. Oh, wait, it is, but barely. It is barely lifting off the ground. That doesn't seem right to me. Like, I shouldn't need that many thrusters for a ship this size. And it's still not really operating optimally. I mean, it's not really descending, which is good, but like, you guys can let me know, but that seems like a little bit overkill. Especially when you consider that it's really not even lifting off that well. Like, it's still kind of dragging its feet a bit. I don't know, that seems really fishy to me. And it's like, everything about this is really... I'm wondering if it's a power issue, because everything about this feels sluggish. Like the QE rotation buttons. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is just barely rotating, unless I move. If I move, then it rotates okay. But if I'm stationary and try and move it, it's like it'll be okay right now, and then now it just locks, like, in place, and I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's a fuel. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty safe to say that even if this is actually functioning, it is not the proper way that this should be functioning. So, I'm kind of in a smidge of a back to the drawing board kind of moment, but I have an idea. I don't know if it'll work or not. We do have the thruster damage off, so I can get a little more creative with how to run this stuff. But what I'm thinking is I'll have to use hydrogen. I didn't want to have to use it, but just for atmospherics I may have to, and then disable them when they're in space kind of thing. It's the only thing I can think of that can improve the lift with minimal, whatchamacallit, minimal impact, like space, like take up a huge amount of space. The thing is, hydrogen thrusters have to be connected to the network, the conveyor network, which kind of sucks because, yeah, I didn't have them connected to anything. So I don't know how many thrusters I need, and I don't know where the best place to put them is going to be. I'm almost wondering, since I've got 3 ports over here that I can plug into with these small thrusters. Hello, there we go. So I could put 3 right there. I thought about, you know, do I run a conveyor somewhere and then I've got more room or something like that, which theoretically I could run a line that runs like all the way along here, along this bottom row kind of thing. But where this does not take up a spot, this would put the hydrogen thrusters down one, since these occupy, the conveyors would occupy space. So I'm not sure about that, but I might use this. I might switch this to a conveyor, and then have the conveyor run, I don't know, just along here maybe for a couple blocks, and I'd have a cluster of like 4 or 5, whatever I could fit in here. And I might do that. It would connect it to the hydrogen, or the conveyor system, but it wouldn't actually affect the overall connectivity kind of thing. Now, the only problem with this is I don't think I have any hydrogen in this system. I'm pretty sure these tanks are empty, and I don't actually have a connector set up to fill them. Another issue is that brings into question how many of these thrusters do I actually need if I'm relying on hydrogen to get me up in the air. That's the other issue. Because I was adding extra verticals because I was trying to compensate for gravity. But if I end up going with hydrogen thrusters, then do I need all the extras up and down, or should I just have them all be equal, like 6 in each direction? If that's the case, which I think it probably will end up being the case, because this is a ridiculous amount of ion thrusters for it to be viable. Or flyable. See? So we have 6 on each side for forward. I'm okay with forward being a little unbalanced, because forward is generally the direction you're propelling in the most. But at this point we have 12 in the forward direction, and I believe we have 6 in the reverse direction, and 6 in each lateral direction. So it stands to reason 6 up, 6 down should be fine, plus hydrogen. That's kind of the working theory at the moment. Now, the unfortunate part is where these are located. I need some kind of block to hold this in place, because if I don't, then these thrusters break down, because they're not actually attached to the conveyors, they're attached to the thrusters next to them. So there is that. I can get rid of most. Actually, I can get rid of all of these, because, like I said, if I'm doing 6 up and 6 down, I really don't need that many at all. Okay, so there's that. There's that. We got the cross beams. That's fine. I could just leave these right here. But then again, I'm wondering if there's some room, some way to make use of this section to better hook in the hydrogen ones. I could bring a conveyor line up, but I don't know how useful that would be. See, these ion ones you can stack on top of each other and stuff. They don't actually have to connect to a conveyor tube. And these have to connect, but they also have to be facing the right direction, which means the port always has to be facing down. So if I were to come up and then stick one, like a bar out like this, you could get a set here, but that doesn't necessarily mean you could do more down here and stuff, because you're making use of the conveyors. I'm not sure. Plus, but I do need something to hang on to for these guys. Don't think I need those. Nor do I need these bottom ones when they're done. So if I were to operate on the assumption that let's say we leave these. Let's take these top ones out. And I apologize if this is kind of harebrained or whatever. Scatterbrain, whatever you want to call it. Mainly it's because I have spent so long in creative and Let's Builds and stuff like that, and that I usually build for style, not how it works in the game, and I definitely don't build for atmospherics. I build for space. So this is really my actual first attempt to build a ship that can tolerate the atmosphere and stuff. So if it comes off that I'm, you know, for someone who's played this a long time, very inexperienced. Well, yeah, short answer is because I am. Let's see, what is this anyway? I forgot what this is. This is the generator, the hydrogen-oxygen generator. Okay. Alright, so we cleared that out. Now, I could bring a conveyor line off of this, I suppose, but that increases the width profile, which I'm already having issues with the hull, particularly this area down here, where this part has all been horizontal and this part has all been vertical, wrapping around this way. When it gets to this point, I'm having some merging issues here where I can't quite figure out how I want those to tie in together, which is a problem. I might be able to make use of this guy, however. Maybe. It would throw off the profile a little bit, but it probably wouldn't be detrimental. Another option is to come off of this one. I left that open for access, didn't I? Oh no, that's the access hatch. Oh. Wait, did I put that in the wrong spot? I think I put a reactor in the wrong spot. No? I guess I didn't. Weird. Alright, hold on. I could work with this. This is all enclosed at the moment. Come on. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we can work with this. Let's get rid of this entirely. We'll wait till... well, we don't really have to. And let's do a conveyor tube that goes this way and a conveyor that goes this way. Let's see. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? We can bring it out and run it along this, is what I'm kind of thinking. Will that give me enough? No, I'll need to come out. Well, hold on. Actually, let's not do it this way. That's inefficient. Let's do... that was weird. What did I do? There we go. Let's do... I really hate when it's finicky like this. Let's do this. And then split it. I don't really know if that helps at all. It felt like it would, but it may not have. It at least minimized the profile for when we're trying to fill in the hull here. Now, we should be able to do this. Let's just try one line for a minute, and let's only do about there. And then from here, let's switch back over to this, and we're going to set up our hydrogen thrusters, like so. And this way, like I said, we can kind of keep the overall profile slimmed down, but we still have our hydrogen thrusters built in here. Now, like I said, I don't know if I can really test this, considering that I don't think I actually have any hydrogen in the tanks. You know. Wait a minute. Did that go out far enough? No, I didn't go out far enough. Okay, do that. And then we gotta put one more out here. So, yeah. That's the thing. That's something we're gonna have to work out. Because I need to be able to fly the thing. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. I had the 2 reactors there, and then I left one port open in case I wanted to put a third. I could put reactors right here if I wanted extras as well. But I kind of like to... well, no, we have other conveyors we can come off to, so that really shouldn't matter. I was going to say I kind of like to leave the conveyors open, but I don't think it'll really matter. Okay, so all you guys are done. Good. I don't know if I have all the supplies to do this or not. I guess we'll know in a minute. The bigger thing is if we do this way, then I've got to build in some kind of connector, or I guess just, I don't know if I can offload it through tanks, but I need to get hydrogen on board somehow. Oh, I know, I could make ice. I could just make ice and then throw it in the actual hydrogen generator. Does that make hydrogen? I think the ice makes hydrogen. Yeah, because it's ice, so it's H2 and then O. So you'd separate the water and the oxygen. Oxygen and hydrogen. I'm trying to build. Just don't pay attention to my terrible chemistry. Now, I think for this, you know what we'll do? Let's just put a block here. And with a block here, that should actually hold these guys in place. To where I can get rid of you as well. Methinks. I hope. I hope that works the way that I pictured it in my mind. And obviously this would not work without thruster damage off. Everything is way too close together, and even some of these thrusters are pointing in at themselves. I don't think that causes a problem in the game mechanics of, like, flying. Like, you're not getting any thrust because it's pointed at itself. But if you have thruster damage on, it can definitely cause a problem. For obvious reasons. So, yeah. And I do apologize if these episodes have been getting pretty Let's Buildy lately. It's not really the intent. I've discussed it somewhat lengthily. Lengthily? At length. Let's go with at length. I've discussed it somewhat at length before, where it's basically just a time thing of I don't really have the time to do all this building and testing and things and then record something else on top of it. So it kind of ends up infecting the let's play into a let's build until I get a ship ready. But yeah, there's also a couple of other things. I don't think we have a whole lot of time left in this episode, so I'm not going to get into it too much in terms of explaining it at length. But I am a little bit. I'm not pulling a Chicken Little at this point with the sky is falling type syndrome. But I'm gonna be a little bit honest here. I am keeping my eyes open to shifting a little bit off of Space Engineers for a little bit, like. Not for a little bit like I'm taking a break, but I mean like my focus, because I'm very careful about that, because it is the series that I kind of, that took off with my channel. I started with Minecraft, but it didn't really go very far, and for the most part, it was pretty much Space Engineers that took my channel off from the ground kind of thing. Because I was at like 40 subscribers, I think, in like a year or something of doing Minecraft videos off and on. And then I think when I started doing Space Engineers, I went to like 400 in a month, and it just kept growing from there. So, you know, I'm aware that that's predominantly where my viewership is going to be, is in Space Engineers. And it shows in all of my views. All of my Space Engineers videos always have the highest views out of my channel. But with the exception of stuff like Subnautica, that did surprisingly well. Let's actually test this real quick. I don't know if I have enough hydrogen in here, or any. I think any is the appropriate word, because I have none. So yeah, I'm not saying anything. Don't misconstrue that or take it the wrong way that I'm like, all of a sudden I'm just never doing Space Engineers and I'm just done. No, I'm just saying I've been keeping an eye on the devs, how they're doing stuff. I recently watched a couple of videos that were breakdown interview type things with the devs at Keen and stuff, and I gotta be honest, as both a aspiring game developer who I want to get into, you know, doing my own games and stuff eventually, but between that as well as like just a gamer, just, you know, somebody that has played games a lot and has been playing their games and stuff like that, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was concerned about some of their comments that they're making as far as the roadmap and where they're going with the game and stuff. And it's I'm not trying to put words in their mouth. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm not trying to say anything that they haven't actually said themselves, and if I'm misconstruing something, then that's on me. So I encourage you guys to look up the interviews and stuff yourselves and take your own opinion, because then it's not my fault if you misunderstand it like I did or something like that. But so don't take that the wrong way as like I'm trying to badmouth them or anything like that. You know, I've said before that I really appreciate their openness when Keen's openness when it came to stuff like Dog Squad and things like that. They were very like, yeah, that's fine. We're very supportive of it, so I can't really knock them too hard. But there's things that, like, for me personally, and again, I don't know their roadmap. I didn't look at their roadmap. I don't know what their plan was for Space Engineers originally. I've heard from them before, from different interviews, not contacting me directly or anything, but just from other interviews and things. I've heard from them that, wow, I just made 100 ice. I have 61,000. Okay. Whoops. Why can I not type in here? Thank you. 100. So we're going to throw this in the ship up there and make some hydrogen real quick. Yeah, I thought about cutting this out, but then I figured I'd just get some of this off of my chest while I'm doing this. So, like I said, don't freak out or anything. There's no reason to panic at this point. I'm not, you know, oh, I'm done with this and we're just moving on and blah. No, we're not doing that. I'm just saying that kind of as a heads up more than anything else. Kind of as a heads up more than anything else that I really don't know. That's the thing. That's what I'm really saying. I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm really going to be able to get more videos and content and all that kind of stuff. Not that the game doesn't have more to do, but just in terms of, I've done it a few times where I started a series, I started a survival like I'm doing now. This is actually the farthest I've ever gotten in a survival environment. And so I'm just kind of wondering at what point do you kind of run out of stuff to do? And mostly for video content. That's the other thing. If you guys have seen me do the same thing multiple times and it gets boring, then nobody really wants to watch videos on that, essentially. And so that's the part I have to keep in mind as a video developer, or as a content creator, whatever you want to call it. Let's see if we can fly while we're doing this. So we should have hydrogen now. Why? Okay, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or if something is not working. Thruster override is disabled, max required 100 kilo, okay. So if you're on, and I have hydrogen in my tank, I have hydrogen, right? Auto refill. How do I tell that? Why does it not show me what's in here? That's not very helpful. I should, right? It's all connected. So it should be going into the tanks. Hold up. This is weird. The tanks aren't... I'm confused now. The tanks aren't doing anything, it looks like. Oh, I have oxygen. I have just oxygen. That's why. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, hold on. Alright. Can we fix that? I wonder... let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Well, actually, maybe not. Maybe I'll put one right here. That might work out better. I need a hydrogen tank. Let's get rid of you. Let's grab you. You are gigantic. And that's a small grid? Seriously? Really? This is why I didn't want hydrogen thrusters. It automatically makes the ship ginormous, and I didn't want to do that. Crap. Well, that sucks. So this is probably not going to work either. Alright, so I'm just going to keep talking. We're going to wrap this episode up. I think I'm done building for today. This isn't working very well, and I just cannot seem to get this thing to fly in its current state. So that's kind of annoying. But yeah, so basically, I do apologize if you can hear my dog. He's being a bit of a pain in the butt today with my recording stuff, but whatever. So yeah, basically, I've just been hearing, I watched a couple of videos on their Q&A live stream and their interviews after that and stuff like that. particularly their comments about trying to quote-unquote finish Space Engineers and move on to other things type of thing. Now, I don't know what kind of time frame they're looking at for that, and it could be another couple of years before they're done quote-unquote polishing it and making it, you know, optimized or whatever. But the fact that they were talking about it just kind of set me a little uneasy, because in my opinion, I don't think it's anywhere close to being that ready. But that's me. That's why I was saying I don't know what the roadmap looked like. I don't know how they started it. I don't know what the original project was supposed to entail. I've heard multiple times that they're way beyond what they originally intended, which, you know. So it's just, there's a lot of little iffy things, is really what it comes down to. That when everybody thinks it's early access and you're still developing it, I don't think anybody really cares when things are kind of weird or doing different things or whatever, you know, if there's still some bugs and kinks to work out. When you start talking about being done with something and there's still so many things that the community's been asking you to fix, I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not placing blame. They could totally pull, you know, and do everything and do it all right and they're fine. I just got a little concerned when they started talking that way. And especially since there's been a lot of competition lately with stuff like Empyrean. There's one I've never even heard about that I recently got shown, not shown like someone showed it to me, but I ran across in videos, Sky Wanderer, that's coming out, or supposedly slated for, like, I think early access in late 2018 or something like that, I think is the tentative date. But there's just a lot of other things coming out that do kind of similar, but they're already kind of making a lot of progress, where in some regards, if I'm being very blunt, Space Engineers kind of feels like it's stalling a bit in making that progress, in keeping that pace kind of thing. So, you know, and I do apologize if this freaks anybody out. Oh my gosh, he's not doing it anymore. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm wondering at this point. I'm pondering kind of thing. It's got me thinking of, if I decided, you know, to not do more of this, then what would you do? What would you switch it to? Things like that. So if you guys have opinions on that, do let me know. I'm always open to hearing what everybody's looking for, but predominantly I say that here because Space Engineers is my #1 series. It's the thing that draws in the most amount of views on my channel, and so bringing that up anywhere else is kind of a moot point to me, because other viewers for other series are probably fine with whatever, as long as those series stay and things like that. So it really only directly affected Space Engineers specifically. And like I said, this is not this is the last episode of this series or anything like that. I'm just looking at things as in, it's kind of one of those, for lack of a better example, it basically comes down to when I've done the same thing repeatedly, whether it was building ships, whether it was, you know, doing Let's Plays, whether it was rebooting, you know, let's do another build, let's do another season, because people were starting to get bored, I have to look at that and go, why are people getting bored? What is it we could do differently? Things like that. Okay, sorry about that. My dog is being a royal pain in the butt with the whole barking while I'm trying to record things. So, I apologize. I'm going to probably do my best to try and cut that out. Some of that, I kind of wanted what I said in there, so I might not be able to do that again. But basically, the short version, the too long didn't read version kind of thing, is not that I'm doing anything right now, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that because of some of the comments that have been made and where I'm kind of just how I'm reading things, where everything seems to be going with Space Engineers as a game, as it's being developed, things like that, where the devs seem to want to be taking it and what they're thinking. It just has me a little bit concerned, is all, of the longevity of continuing to do more on the series and stuff like that, and where to go from there. Because quite frankly, I've always liked Space Engineers as a game that lets you build and do things, but it always kind of lacked direction to me. It's like you had to make your own, there was no real point or campaign kind of thing, but it also just feels very empty, where stuff like Minecraft, you had skeletons and mob farms and all this kind of stuff. With Space Engineers, it's just like the only thing you really had was wolves, and they were more annoying than anything else. It didn't really it didn't really incentivize you to do anything. It was just kind of an irritant to hinder your progress kind of thing. So it just always felt a little more lifeless to me than Minecraft. Now, that is saying on planet, like here, that if you start out here, that was close. Not like if you're out in space and running into pirate ships and all that, but there wasn't any other real interactions. It was always just kind of you. There wasn't, even on the ships, they were just ships. There was no other, like, NPCs on board that when you jumped in, they fought back, and so it wasn't like you actually ran into pirates or things. So the whole thing just always felt a little bit empty to me. But anyways, I'm starting to babble, and this could be a whole nother video. Anyways, the point was, I just wanted to let you guys know, as a heads up, that I am contemplating things, and I would be open to suggestions and theories and things on what you guys would like to see and what not see and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.